Please pause the video and read the following 2 screens of text. By viewing this video, you agree that the author cannot be held legally liable for your own actions. Thank you. Hello, welcome to this video. I've made this video random access. In other words, if you pause and come back to this index, you can move the slider or the YouTube video progress marker to the section you are interested in. Note that there's a blue background slide for each new section. If you like this content and want to see more Body by Science related topics covered in more depth in the future, then please subscribe to this channel. YouTube has made the number of subscribers the most meaningful method of feedback to content producers. If you subscribe and turn on notifications for this channel, you'll also be notified when there are new H.I.T cat videos posted. But that's a good thing, right?
Hi, my name is Bruce Gutzman. I'm a 55-year-old chemist who's been doing Body by Science for about 5 years. I've trained my wife and a few others in Body by Science. I've been very excited about the results that we've gotten and all the benefits. My sister asked me recently if I could help get her into Body by Science, and I looked for a video that would help get her going, and I couldn't find anything quite what I was looking for. So, Sam, this video is for you. My goal in this video is to faithfully represent the teachings and the science that Dr. McGuff has presented in his book titled Body by Science, authored with John Little. And my other goal is to get as many people as possible kick-started into Body by Science as quickly as possible so that you can start experiencing the benefits yourself. Please remember that I am not a certified personal trainer, and even if I was, I'm not there with you. So, if you're not 100% confident about what you're doing, please get some professional help, qualified professional help, to help you get going on this safely. But I do believe that with the advice given in this video, if you follow the safety precautions, most people will do just fine.
If you're viewing the video on a mobile device, remember to click the little triangle icon below the video to expand the description box. There you'll find helpful links to content that you might find valuable. If you're viewing the video in a browser, these links should already be visible. Before going any further, I'd better put one raging controversy to rest. Namely, what is a fitness video doing on H.I.T's 24/7 YouTube channel? Well, H.I.T understands that physically fit staff members make better servants, and so she's graciously consented to let us post this video on her YouTube channel. Thank you, H.I.T. In its simplest formulation, Body by Science is high-intensity training plus super slow. That means it's effective because it's high-intensity training. You get a good return for the time that you invest in your exercise. And then it's safe because the motion is super slow. Body by Science is perfect for seniors and for teens. Because it's effective, it benefits everyone. Because it's safe, it's especially good for people in their 70s, 80s, and their 90s. In one study of non-ambulatory nursing home residents with an average age of 88.5 years, many of the formerly wheelchair-bound subjects were able to walk again after only 14 weeks of resistance training. The average muscle gain was 4 pounds. The average fat loss was 3 pounds. These kind of results are not difficult to obtain and are quite typical. Appropriate muscle mass and strength provides benefits greater than anything else can. There's just nothing that covers the range of benefits like having your muscle mass and strength. Especially blood sugar and insulin control. Nothing can come close to muscle for benefiting you that way. Myself, I experienced much better thermal or body temperature regulation when I built up my muscle mass. I was getting a lot of chills and just felt weak. and that disappeared when I started doing Body by Science. As co-author John Little says, muscle is metabolically expensive for your body to maintain, and that's a good thing as far as we're concerned. More muscle means that your body will burn hundreds of calories per day while you do nothing. High-intensity training is the most effective way known to build muscle mass and strength at this time. The trouble is, most high-intensity training is also high injury potential. See plyometrics. By contrast, super slow, using correct form, has effectively a zero injury rate. In the video on the right, notice how explosive these motions are. These people actually promote the word explosive. You might get away with this stuff in your 20s and 30s, but in your 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond, no way. You're going to spend more time recovering from injuries than working out. How is this for encouraging? Body by Science requires only 12 minutes of exercise per week. Seriously. More than one set per exercise does not yield superior results, so why waste time doing it? And doing the BBS workout more frequently than once per week can actually cause muscle loss. But those 12 minutes are no walk in the park. We're typically used to resting during the negative portion of our repetitions, those of us who do resistance training. And we sneak in further resting by such tricks as lockout, etc. Ever notice how they need to coach people not to bounce during bench press or chest press? Well, there's none of that here. You'll find that 45 to 90 seconds of uninterrupted, continuous exertion is quite mentally and physically challenging. Please note, when we say no more than once every 7 days, we don't mean don't do any other exercise or physical activity for 7 days. We mean don't exhaust your fast twitch fiber from the same muscle group more than once per week. We'll explain what that means later in the theory section. For certain people, especially as you get older, you might need 8 or more days to recover. Don't worry about it. 7 days is a minimum, not a maximum. For a lot of people, weekly, at precisely the same time and day, works out best for scheduling and equipment availability, but it's not a physiological requirement. Body by Science can be done with a variety of equipment, or even no equipment. This includes machines, free weights, body weight, augmented body weight. It's not about what you use to provide resistance. It's all about doing it safely and going to failure within the right time window. Finally, a couple of miscellaneous notes. The benefit from low-intensity, high-repetition exercise ranges from minimal to negative. Some form of activity is usually better than being sedentary, but when carried out for extended time periods, low-intensity, high-repetition forms of exercise, think cardio or aerobics, can wear out your joints and actually cause muscle wasting. Losing muscle is one of the worst things that can happen to your health. Also, I am in favor of many nutritional supplements, including metformin for blood sugar control. But supplements cannot match the benefits of Body by Science. In summary, everyone needs these benefits, and at our current state of knowledge, there is no other way except high-intensity training to get these benefits. Body by Science is the safest form of H.I.T that we currently know of, and Body by Science is convenient to boot. You need Body by Science. You want Body by Science. Come, join us. Don't be afraid. Body by Science encompasses all of the elements below, but you don't need to know all of this to get started. Most people do like to know the theory of why they're doing things, so here goes. It includes sequential recruitment of fast-twitch muscle fiber. This is accomplished via high-intensity training, plus super slow, plus proper timing of failure. Adequate recovery time. This would be the 7 days between doing your workouts. Proper range of motion, also known as proper form during your exercises. Also, compound exercises are prioritized over isolation types, but not exclusively. When it comes to overcoming plateaus, Body by Science introduces isolation type exercises. To get where you need to go, you need to recruit or fatigue your fast twitch muscle fiber. But slow and intermediate twitch fiber must be depleted first. The only way around this is to use explosive techniques like plyometrics, which is not a good idea. Fast twitch muscle fiber can be safely recruited by adjusting the resistance, in other words, the load or weight, so that failure occurs within the proper time frame. Slow twitch fiber recovers in approximately 90 seconds. Fast twitch fiber recovers in approximately 7 days. That's why the goal is to fail at around 90 seconds or less before the slow twitch muscle fiber can recover. Time under load, TUL, is the key metric, not the number of repetitions. In fact, I never keep track of the number of repetitions. I'm totally focused on the time under load. If you fatigue your fast twitch muscle fiber, which is the goal, then you want at least 7 days to recover. To summarize, if you adjust resistance so that you fail between 45 and 90 seconds, then you will exhaust your slow twitch fiber and recruit your fast twitch fiber before the slow twitch can recover. Body by Science is intentionally anaerobic. You will get some lactic acid buildup and soreness. Embrace this. Resistance training is just as cardio as any other exercise. If you are intent on improving your aerobic capacity, it's important to understand that your aerobic system performs at its highest level when recovering from lactic acidosis. After your high-intensity workout, when your metabolism is attempting to reduce the level of pyruvate in the system, it does so through the aerobic subsegment of metabolism. It is also important to understand that since muscle is the basic mechanical system being served by the aerobic system, as muscle strength improves, the necessary support systems, which include the aerobic system, must follow suit. If you want to know more details and the science underlying Body by Science, please buy the book. For each exercise, the goal is to reach failure between 90 seconds and 45 seconds. So you want to exceed 45 seconds before you fail, but then you don't want to exceed 90 seconds before failing. So you adjust the resistance so that you fail within that time frame. For example, start with rowing, do 1 set of rows until you fail at or before 90 seconds. Go on to chest press, you do 1 set and fail between 45 and 90 seconds. Go to pull downs, do 1 set where you fail between 45 and 90 seconds, and so on. You'll get stronger within a few weeks. I've noticed several people really take off at about 6 weeks. And you'll need to increase your resistance or you will fail in too long of a time. But when you increase the resistance, you might find that you'll fail before the 45-second minimum threshold is reached. It's okay to lower your resistance back to its previous setting and let your failure occur at up to 120 seconds. But if you exceed 120 seconds, or you continually reach it, then you need to increase your resistance and have a spotter help you get over the sticking points. That way you can exceed the 45-second minimum and yet keep increasing your resistance. In the right frame, you'll notice that I'm using a timing app. The one I'm using is called Seconds Pro, and I do like it. When I first started doing Body by Science, I used it in a countdown or an interval mode. I would set it for a 90-second interval and then allow it to go into overrun in case I exceeded 90 seconds. Later, I realized it was just simpler to do a stopwatch or a count-up mode. I still like Seconds Pro for that because the numbers are nice and big, but any simple stopwatch app or stopwatch itself, I feel is the easiest way to go. Rest time between exercises. Keep the rest time down to 90 seconds or less between exercises if possible, and try to be consistent from week to week. That way you won't think you're getting stronger or weaker just because of an increase or reduction in rest time. For the timing of individual repetitions, go as slow as practical without sticking or stopping and starting. This typically ranges from 5 to 15 seconds during the positive stroke, and another 5 to 15 seconds for the return or negative stroke within each repetition. Perfect form is non-negotiable. That's how we prevent injury. Specific form tips for each individual exercise are given in the workout demonstrations, but in general, it should be smooth and slow motion, no explosive type movement. No extra wide grips are ever used. No lockout stops or resting. And keep the range of motion limited to within the safe range. In the pictures on the right, you see the man himself, Dr. McGuff, in 3 out of 4 of the pictures, demonstrating proper form. Breathing technique for Body by Science is very important, and it's probably not what you're used to. We practice an intentional hyperventilation, especially during the positive motion of the exercise or when we first start out. It's probably impossible to truly hyperventilate because your muscles are calling for so much blood and oxygen. It's not some secret special way to get more oxygen into your bloodstream. That's not the purpose. The fake hyperventilation is simply a way to try to overcome the dangerous, explosive technique that has become habit for most of us who have been working out. We don't want explosive breathing. The result is that of avoiding explosive breathing is that you minimize your blood pressure elevation during exercise, and it also reinforces a zero rest mindset. Remember, when you do a typical workout, you're sort of resting during the negative motion as you inhale, and then you explode with your exhale to try to get the rep up. But we don't care about getting more repetitions. We want constant work with no rest until failure. Please remember to protect your wrists at all costs. This is mainly my emphasis and not Dr. McGuff's. For upper body exercises, all the force must pass through your wrists. Stop immediately if you notice pain or discomfort, and seek help in finding workarounds. If you're using machines especially, but even with free weights, alternative handles or grips are usually available. My wife and I have made a number of changes to the way we do exercises based completely on what is comfortable for our wrists. And we certainly don't regret protecting them because it allows us to do our workouts with full force. This risk scale is my concept and is not found in the Body by Science book. As stated before, when done with proper form, machines have extremely low risk. Free weights using safety racks, especially for chest or bench press and squats, are also very low risk. The body weight and augmented body weight approaches carry somewhat higher risk, but the risk is still pretty low if done correctly. Arjan Meijer, whom we'll give more links and views of later, gives good safety hints in his videos for the body weight forms. If you can obtain practical access to machines, then that is definitely preferred. I would advise that only the relatively young and physically fit should take the body weight approach, and not the elderly. Range finding. For your first workout, you're going to need to have to determine what is the right weight to use. For most folks, the appropriate weight is about 75 to 80% of your known maximum, but most of us don't know our maximum, and determining your maximum is a bad and unsafe idea. Instead, you just have to try weights starting low and work up, and ask yourself, does this feel about right so that I'm going to fail in 45 to 90 seconds if I just have no rest and have to sustain the exercise. If possible, determine the weight you're going to start with for all 5 exercises before doing them for real. That way you can get a little bit of rest after you've tried the range finding, and then try to get a real workout in on your very first try. And that's very motivating if you can do that. It really helps to have a partner to adjust the weights while you stay in position on the machine or with the free weights. But if you don't have that, don't worry, you can do it yourself. It's just not as convenient. Don't worry about getting it perfect the first time. You will obviously learn from where your failure time is, and if your failure time is extremely long, stop and add more resistance, and then continue your set and make sure to make yourself fail. Take your best shot at making your first workout count. Get that lactic acid soreness, and you'll feel good about yourself that you got your first workout in. What is the Big Five? It's the set of 5 exercises shown on these slides. We will be demonstrating in this section the machine versions. We won't waste your time showing going to failure in each of these exercises. If you want to see what going all the way to failure looks like, just search on Big 3 or Big 5 for Body by Science in YouTube, and you will get to see plenty of examples of people going to failure. Seated row. This is an upper body pulling exercise using a medium grip. Most folks use a parallel grip and are advised to do so, unless it hurts your wrists. You see in the video on the right that my machine has available a chest-supported version of this exercise. I used it for a while, but it did not agree with my wrists. I started to feel wrist pain, and so I thankfully have the option to use the non-supported version that you also see in the video. And I use a different grip than my wife uses. We change out the attachment depending on which one of us is doing the exercise. Chest press. This is an upper body pushing exercise using a medium grip. Do not flare and do not tuck your arms. It should be a relatively natural feeling position. On the positive stroke, stop just short of lockout or locking your elbows. On the negative stroke, don't let your elbows go past planar. In other words, as if you were lying on a plane, they couldn't go any farther back than that. In the video, you'll see me demonstrating the chest press with a board placed behind my back. This is just to demonstrate the concept of not going too far back during the negative stroke. Remember, on this exercise, proper form means you must restrict the range of motion. Although, to get started on your first repetition, unless you have a spotter, depending on your machine, you might need to start with your elbows past planar. That's okay. Just don't allow it on your second, third, and following repetitions. Pull down. An underhand grip is what's normally used. But my wife and myself use parallel bars because it feels better on our wrists, once again. Pull the bar or handles down to the top of your chest. Hold the contraction for 3 to 5 seconds before beginning the negative stroke. This is the only exercise on machines where Dr. McGuff recommends a stop or a lockout, but it's not really a lockout because you don't have your elbows locked, and holding it down there requires a lot of effort and work. You're not resting. A free weight substitute for this exercise would be the deadlift, or if you were going with body weight, it would be pull-ups. Overhead press. This is the pushing complement to the pull-down exercise, using a medium width grip. A parallel grip is preferred if it's available and comfortable. My wife actually uses free weights and a barbell in this exercise because that's what feels most comfortable to her. You want to keep your hands and the load slightly in front of you and not directly overhead. You'll notice on my machine I'm facing away from the machine, using support on my hips and pushing out. My machine also allows a standing approach facing the machine, a sitting approach facing away from the machine, and a sitting approach facing towards the machine. Of the 4 different positions available, the one I chose is because it feels the most comfortable and proper to me. Leg press. Use a starting position of 90 degrees for both your hips and your knees for most people. Set the machine at the starting position, not beyond it. You don't want a more acute angle than you can handle at full load. It's okay if the weight stack taps in between reps, as long as you don't rest during that time. It's better to let the stack tap as you're coming back than to have your knees driven into your chin when you go to failure. If you cannot handle as acute of an angle as beyond 90 degrees, then set the seat so that you don't quite come to 90 degrees. Keep it safe for your body and the proper range of motion that your knees and hips can take. Make sure at the end of the positive stroke, when your legs are extended all the way, don't actually let them go out all the way. Don't lock out your knee joints. That can be quite dangerous. You want to stop just before that and let the weight start pushing back on your legs.